I'm now joined by Tom of a band that I recently discovered called Hell Hotel. A sort of band that you sit here and go, wait a minute, how have I not heard this band before? Because they are completely up my street and they are absolutely fantastic. So I'm completely making you blush now. I don't care because you are a great band. So first of all, how's things going, mate?
Yeah, really good. We've had a really busy year so far and kind of keeping the train going really. And yeah, it's been really overwhelming. We've only been a band like a year and a half really. So to kind of be where we're at is really amazing to see. And we're just really thankful for where we're at the
Yeah,
moment.
I will say, is it impressive rise actually, some of the things that you've done, as you say, in just a year and a half. Now, I want to start off with the single you've just released, Promises. Now,
Mhm.
understand it's been described as sort of your most personal and I suppose heartbreaking release to date. Can you tell me how this song actually came together and, how it is defining your band as defining Hell Hotel?
Yeah, I think so. This whole bunch of songs we've been releasing over the last couple of months were all kind of written. Me and Demi went through very similar situations in our lives, a very similar point, very separately, and it was just kind of fitting as we both kind of share kind of writing responsibilities that it was unfortunate that we both went through such a hard time, but it was like kind of simultaneously. And we made a real conscious effort, I think, with these new songs to be a bit more a bit more thoughtful with what we put out. Obviously, we always have taken that. Where, like I said, we've not actually got that many songs out, but it kind of came about just with the chorus, really. Just the idea that nightmares are dreams too, which is like you can't have any good without the bad, and I think that's something that we've tried to carry throughout all of our music, no matter how dark it may seem at times. Like I think in most of our music, there's always like a little bit of hope, and that's something that we always try and portray at least as much as we can.
Now, still sticking with Promises, it sort of captures everything from like, early noughties emo to actually sort of most modern post-hardcore and everything. How did you try and blend all of this together and hit that balance while, trying to still be nostalgic, but kind of hit a fresh sound? Because it has hit that balance, but how did you approach that?
I think just as I wish I could tell you, to be honest. It's just kind of we're not trying to imitate. I think we've always been very conscious of that, but we're also not shying away from wearing our influences on our sleeve either. Um, and it's what we're influenced by. Like obviously you described it perfectly. Like early 2000s emo is like what we came up on. It's obviously what we obviously draw a lot of our like formative musical inspirations from, but also we love bands that are around in the moment that are doing like this similar style that we are, and we're just kind of I guess like looking around and absorbing everything that we like and trying to put it into what we write, which I think is why, and the fact that me and Demi have very like a lot of crossover in our musical influences, but our
Yeah.
favorite ones are very different. So like there's enough variation where I think where we couldn't write what they're writing because we're not those people, but also I think our influences make our sounds unique because we're unique to each
Yeah.
other, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, and from what you've just said there, I think it's good when opposites attract when it comes,
Mm.
musically to a degree, because it helps you create something completely different. Now, you've had a pretty big summer actually, as you said. You've only been a band for about a year and a half, and you've played Burn It Down Festival. I think is it No Play Festival, and you've shared some stages with some, pretty decent bands like Mouth Culture, for example. How did these sort of shows help shape you? Because, as you say, it's a year and a half. Some bands would still be playing the dingy little pub to just their mates and the bar staff at this point.
I mean, I think the fact, obviously, this isn't like our first project. Like we've done other
Okay.
bands before this as well. So we've definitely done that. But um, I think, especially these like this new group of songs, the first, I guess, like four that we put out last year, were written purely like like in the studio. Like we were, I don't think we'd played a song. We only played maybe a show by the time that like all of those were written and recorded. So I think last year and now kind of, playing more shows this year has really informed what we're writing in the sense of like we have that live feedback and actually that experience of what maybe works, what maybe doesn't. But we're still trying to also figure that out. That's why we're doing loads of singles at the moment, is because we're also trying to gauge what we like and what other people like from us. And yeah, that's we're still trying to figure it out, to be honest. I'm gonna like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend we know what we're doing because we really don't. So like
Do you know, that's it's not a bad answer at the end of the day because some of my favorite bands have constantly evolved and sound nothing like they did back when they first were conceived. So it's not a bad thing at the end of the day, sir. Now, I want to touch on sort of how Hell Hotel actually came into being. I want to start off because you're based in Brighton, which it is a city with an incredibly strong culture and alternative scene as well. Did this environment sort of help you build the identity of Hell Hotel at all?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I've been like local to this scene and kind of the South Coast scene for like since for like the last 10 years, like playing shows, going to shows. And Demi's like lived around here for a long time as well. So I think you can't really help but like absorb such a creative atmosphere. I think the city itself, at least for me, has been liberating and like find your own identity and stuff like that. But um, it's so like you touched upon, like we have kind of a mixed influences because like I think our environment is so diverse, and I think yeah, it's just such a cool city to live in. I'm really fortunate to live here. Like Demi's now like based in Leeds as well, so we have quite like a cross-pollinating kind of environment as well. And yeah, it's just a cool environment to live in. Lots of people would say that about I think the city they live in. We're I think really lucky right now in the UK that every city that at least we've been to or visited has their own thing going on, and like it's really cool to see that kind of what I grew up on in like the 2010s kind of almost happening again, and it's really cool to see.
Now, where did the name Hell Hotel actually come from? Because, I don't get to ask this sort of question. Where did the band name come from? Because
Right.
you're still quite new, and I can't ask bands that have been established for like 20 odd years that. So I'm relishing just being able to ask that question, actually.
Cool. Yeah, it was honestly Demi Demi came up with it, and it was or a list of band names when we were because we didn't really know each other before this band. It was kind of like a project born out of just us both wanting to try something. And she just had a bunch of band names, and that one stuck out. And we both love the movie The Shining, and like though and horror films in general. And we kind of were like. We it naturally came with the vision of like how it would look and like how it would sound and kind of the I guess the more narrative elements of our band. Like we were like, oh, it just the name kind of gave itself to all these other creative things that we could explore, which was, I guess, just how it came about. And I'm still debating if I like it or not, but it's kind of stuck now. So
Yeah.
it's just
Well, I'll say I like it, and this isn't about you. This is about your fans. I'm sorry. Like
no.
you've done this now. This is the way it is. Now, you mentioned that Demi's actually based up in Leeds now. How
Hmm.
does it work actually being able to do this long distance kind of collaborative, situation? Because, you know, pre-COVID days, and it's still scary to think that was all this time, like almost 5 years ago, or over 5 years ago now. But before then, people wanted to be closer. Now we are in this sort of space where we can work that way. How do you feel it works for you guys? And do you find it better, or do you prefer the actually being together in a studio?
Um, it has its like obviously its pros and cons. Obviously, it means that we have to dedicate like specific times to like do things. But I think that it means that when we do like do things together, it makes it a lot more productive and worthwhile. And we still talk every day. Like we have this, you can communicate on your phone. Like I speak to like our group chats going every day. So it's not like we don't. talk to each other or anything. It's I think we tend to, when we do creative things, we tend to go away and do them. So, for example, in this, we if we go to the studio, for example, like that'll be we'll dedicate a chunk of time to do that, and I think it that separation is actually really healthy because obviously, like what we write about, and I guess our creative process is quite consuming in the sense that we really like to dedicate a lot of time and our effort towards it. So to have a place to go and do that, and then kind of to take it step away and take stock of that, I think is a healthy relationship to have with like something that we care so deeply about as well.
Cool. Now, I'm going to go off track slightly because you mentioned like a love of horror movies and things, and you cited the Shining, for example. I have to ask, what did you think of the sequel they did? And now it's literally left my head. I forgot what it's called. Um,
I didn't even know they did a sequel.
yeah.
The show.
Do you know what? I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, it had Ewan McGregor in it playing the grown-up Danny.
I did not know this
Did
existed.
you not?
I genuinely
Okay.
didn't. I
Uh,
will look it
yeah.
up after this
No,
because that
definitely. So
I love
I was just fascinated, and I had the name in my head, and I bet you I'm going to shout it out just at a random point in
it.
this interview. Go, it was this.
Okay.
It's quite new actually, but on the note of sort of horror movies, what do you prefer? Do you prefer the sort of classic Shining era from like the 80s, maybe early 90s, or are you more of a fan of the modern day?
Um, I think a healthy mix of both. I like practical effects. I'm a
Yeah.
big practical effects guy. Always have been. So I think I either like horror movies that are like so bad that they're good, or they do something that's like ambitious. Like I want like two that jump out to me this year were oh oh the one with the kid that died and she bring her back.
Okay.
That was, for example, that was like it was a horror movie, but you felt really sorry, and it was more exploring like human emotion
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I like those kind of movies, but I also love Evil Dead. So,
Oh,
like, take from that what you will.
yeah.
Like,
No,
I
I'm
love the
with you
super
there.
over the top stuff, and I love the super nuanced. It depends what mood I'm in.
Yeah.
But I think horror in general is such a good opportunity because everything's so outlandish. It gives people to chance to play and like be really creative, and that's what I like most about like that genre of movies, especially.
Amazing. And I did promise you I'd remember. It's called Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep. Ah, yes, no, I did. I think I've seen that. I thought it was really good. I think
Yeah,
it was
there
this.
we go.
But the fact that I can't remember a lot about it probably says a lot. I'm
That's
just gonna.
fair enough. See, I don't get film. Anyway, I went off on this tangent because I'm a big horror film fan myself. But anyway, 2025, I'm going back to the fact that it has been quite a big year for you, and your fan base has been steadily growing, and you've been getting recognition from like quite big publications. And just to cite BBC Radio 1 Introducing, for example, what was it like to actually that moment to actually happen for you? Because a lot of bands can have that WTF moment, and I'm wondering if this is that for you.
Yeah, that keeps happening, which is really like I said, like this is mine and Demi's like separately. Like it's not our first project. We've been doing this for a long time, and it's been really, it's yeah, it's mental. Like I never thought a song that I wrote in my bedroom would be on the radio, and it's something, especially like that particular one you say, like and Alex Holcomb and Melita and BBC and Sussex as well have been amazing supporters of us since we've like came out like last year, and it never gets old. Like it's always sick, and I can't express how cool it is. And it's definitely that particular one, like being on the radio is like something I think you can like tell people, like for example, like our parents who maybe don't understand completely like the world we're in, and to they'll be like, oh, that's cool because you're on the radio, Radio One, which is always sick. And I think, yeah, long may it continue. Hopefully, no one gets bored of us.
Well, just keep churning out the tunes that like, are absolutely spectacular, and I think I can't see that happening. But on the sort of the topic of like songs and so on, I love asking this question. In the modern day, how important do you think a full album release actually is? Because I'm in my like 40s and I still love albums and records and like the actual physical media. But as we consume music, it's become very much more, here's the song, here's the next tune, get it on Spotify or Apple Music or something. Where do you stand on this?
I love albums. I'm like a vinyl collector. Well, and uh, I love albums. I think with how the landscape is, I think it's more challenging to do an album that someone will care about. But I think that they should be made all the same. I think for us, like we would love to do a longer form release, but we would want to do it properly. And I think at this stage, it's something actually because we're releasing a lot of singles. People are like, "Oh, is this leading towards something?"
Yeah,
And the answer is yeah, eventually. And we don't know what that will look like just yet, but we're still trying to like find. We're trying to just find ourselves. But I was actually at Burn It Down. The Static Dress did their album in full, and at the end, he was like, "Make albums. People still care about albums," and I do agree because
yeah,
you see bands like that breaking the mold. You see bands like my favorite band ever is like My Chem, and they're an album band. So
yeah.
I think it's just adjusting how you put it out, maybe is kind of the way. But like I said, we're still trying to figure it out, so I don't have the answers, unfortunately. But I think if you write something worth listening to, people will listen to it. It's kind of is
And
my
I'd say you're completely correct on that, sir. Now, a couple of fun questions just to round this all up. If you could collaborate with absolutely anyone, the musician of your dreams, I don't even have to be alive anymore. Who would you love to actually work with?
I would like a band or like a producer to work with or anything.
Well, do you know what? Let's break the mold. I normally go for a
Okay.
band, but if there's a
Okay.
producer, go with
I
the
would, I
producer.
would, I would love to work with Eric Valentine, who did like Louder Now and like the few Rejects records. I'd love to work with him because, and I think he did the second Boston Manor record as well, which I really love.
Yeah,
And yeah, just the way those records sound, I would love to like know how that's made and like be a flan, like to have that experience would be amazing because I think that's like the most rewarding bit of being in a band. Like the shows are amazing and don't and I that is its own rewarding place, but to actually sing like create and be in that like microcosm is the most fun for me. But a band wise, I mean, I said Mike I'd love to work with of like Frank specifically. Like I would love to just have a beer with him or like a coffee and just like just chat to him. You know, there's like just to like pick his brain, but. That'd be cool. And how he wears a lot of different hats in different projects and can and somehow, yeah, they're all him. Is quite is always been really impressive to me. So yeah, those are my answers, I think.
I could accept that. My Chem is a good choice at the end of the day. All right,
That's
final question. If you had an unlimited budget and the complete creative freedom to put on the most wild stage show ever for Hell Hotel, what would you like to take place on that stage? So just to paint a picture, I don't know if you were at Download this year, but Sleep Token had an actual functioning waterfall on
yeah,
stage.
absolutely.
So
I mean, I say what you want about them. The 1975 house thing, their stage setup was really cool. I think if we could upscale that to some kind of the Overlook style hotel
oh, yes.
would be sick. That and have some visual effects like take that and then take like the modernness of the Bring Me show and have like it like crumble and stuff. And I don't know, that would be, and we could, assuming we could weave some narrative stuff in there as well. Yeah, that would kind of be, I guess, the dream off the top of my head. Like that would be really sick.
Now that does sound pretty awesome. Well, Tom, I do want to say thanks so much for taking the time to chat to us today. Uh, I think 2026 is going to be massive for you. Uh, Hopefully, in a couple of years' time, you'll be able to go to your PR. Sorry, I need. Why am I going to be talking to V13? Who are they? I'm too big for this. So that's what I'm hoping for you. But I'm also hoping you'll chat to us again. So thanks so
Always.
much, sir.
Yeah,
And I'm
thanks so
looking
much for
forward.
having us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to bring to the table next. Take care, buddy.
In a
Bye.
bit. Bye.